Pedagogical Documentation and Assessment Presentation by Paul Gauchi. Kimberly is a teacher candidate looking for a little bit of information on pedagogical documentation and assessment in kindergarten for her assignment. Her friend Paul has been working in one for many years and is willing to help her. She is meeting up with him in his kindergarten class after school.
Hey Paul, thank you for meeting with me and helping me out on this assignment.
Hey Kimberly, it's my pleasure. Let's head down to the kindergarten classroom. So welcome to the kindergarten classroom. Here is where all the magic is created.
It looks so cute with all the small furniture.
Yeah, and the kids are cute too. Let's get a couple of chairs and we can get started. So, what can I help you with?
I need some help with pedagogical documentation and assessment.
Mostly what is it, and what forms can it be? I'll buy you a coffee, if that helps.
Wow, that's a loaded question with a lot to cover. I think the best way is to show you a presentation I have on the Promethean board. I use these slides to explain things to new parents. So let's start here. Pedagogical documentation pieces. For effective pedagogical documentation in kindergarten that leads to valuable and helpful assessment, we need a lot of pieces. We have broken it down into 5 important pieces. Piece 1. What is pedagogical documentation and what is its purpose? We start with the kindergarten curriculum document. Here's a quote from the curriculum document. The term pedagogical documentation is currently used to refer to the process of gathering and analyzing a wide range of evidence of the child's thinking and learning over time, and using the insights gained to make the child's thinking and learning visible to the child and the child's family. The process enables educators to support further learning for each child in the most effective way possible. So what does that mean? In other words, we are gathering information to analyze and show the child's progress in their learning. It is all about the process, not the product. Here's another quote. Documentation takes place within the natural flow of the child's day, during learning opportunities in the classroom and in the schoolyard and beyond. This way we can see the changing thinking and understanding of the child. This also gives us, as educators, the opportunity to personalize the learning experience depending on the interests and learning needs of the child. Curriculum. The documentation helps educators to identify what the children are learning and to make links to the curriculum, the 4 frames. This also allows the students and their parents to reflect on their learning. This helps the educators maintain a dialogue with the parents to make it easier for them to understand. By building a dialogue with the parents and students, learning becomes more personalized and engaging for the students. The 4 frames, belonging and contributing, involves children gaining a sense of connectedness to others. It involves them developing an understanding of their relationships with others, peers and adults, groups, the classroom, their community, and the natural world. Self-regulation and well-being involves children developing the ability to regulate their emotions, adapt to distractions, assess consequences of their behaviors, and establish an overall sense of strong physical and mental health and wellness. Demonstrating literacy and mathematical behaviors focuses on children learning to use language as a tool, think critically, and begin to the initial stages of readiness skills. It also focuses on concepts of numbers and the ability to assess, manage, and evaluate information. Problem solving and innovating involves children exploring their world by engaging their mind, senses, and body. Children will attempt to make meaning of the world by asking questions, testing theories, solving problems to develop creative and analytical thinking skills. Piece number 2. What are the types of documentation? As you can see from this pedagogical documentation monograph, there are a number of types of documentation. But in the end, the educator chooses the best form of documentation that represents the student's thinking and learning. The next few slides show the most common and the ones we use. Photos. Pictures of the students on an iPad. Educators or students can caption these images. Both students and educators use the iPads to document. Video. Videos on an iPad or other device. The students can capture these videos as well as narrate. Remember that these are all subject towards the local school board's privacy laws and other regulations within the school and the school boards themselves. Authentic writing, journal writing, monthly portraits, writer's workshop. Let's start with journal writing. The students write what they did on the weekend or any other question put to them. Monthly portraits. The students draw themselves and add a caption on what they are doing that month. Sometimes the educator scribes for them, or others can write their own message, with or without assistance. Writer's workshop. Every Friday, the students would work on one aspect or skill. Here are a couple of examples. They would work on creating a character one week, then write a story or something about that character the next week. The other example, one week they would work on the setting, where it is, what's there, describe it. Next week, they would write a story or something that happens in their setting. Observational notes. Anecdotal note-taking. Write what you see, no inferences. Everybody has their own way of taking notes. So whatever you use and you're comfortable with it, use it. I did find this website, the Autism Helper, and on it they had some tips. It's entitled Tips for Keeping Anecdotal Data Objective. Artifacts. Basically, it's students' examples of their work. Here you can see some examples of our Wonders of the World inquiry. Learning stories, documentation panels, a series of photos paired with captions. Here we use Google Slides. One slideshow for each child. This is very similar to a PowerPoint or keynote presentation that is year-long. This allows the educator to document the student's learning on a daily or weekly basis. This slideshow starts at the beginning of the school year, September, and grows until June. The parents can view it through Google Classroom, and they have read-only access to their child's slideshow only. Parents must log in to view, but there are no update notices to the parents. We tell the parents to view them usually on Friday for any new content. Each slide can have a caption from the educator and/or the student. With each image on the slide, we add one of the 4 frames that it relates to. This helps with the assessment by the educators. And as you can see, those are the 4 frames that we talked about earlier. Some people use Google Keep. Google Keep is good, but for the user only. It is like having digital post-it notes. If you want to have the parents view it, you must send each post-it to the parent. With slides, it is a continuous document that can show the child's learning. Both parents and educators can view the student's learning. Piece number 3, helping the students with their learning. Helping the students. This is one of the biggest ones. Listen to the children. Spend time every day listening to the students as they express their learning and thinking. Example, focus on their strengths and abilities. Then we can respond to their needs and opportunities. Reflect with the students on their thinking. Help them to understand their learning. Document any questions and ideas to help them with next steps. Now, this is something the kids love to do. Give them the opportunity to share their learning with their peers and family. Now, this is on us educators. Organize the information, identify patterns in the thinking, learning, and behavior. Then, the next steps. Give the families the chance to share the documentation that is in progress. Give them the chance to share their opinions and observations and experiences to better help the children. Piece number 4, the education team. The team. To gather and analyze the different types of student learning and thinking is quite difficult. Therefore, the value of the education team for the students cannot be ignored. The educators in the room, the teacher and the early childhood educator, ECE, are invaluable members of the collecting and analyzing of the students' work. These two are the main caregivers, but other members of the school education staff are equally valuable. Physical education, music, and drama are only a few of the additional members that provide insight and documentation. As you can see, the teacher and ECE, I see them as 2 great educators or 1 great education team. Together, we choose the types of documentation. Documentation is time-consuming and requires planning. But the educator chooses the best form of documentation that represents the student's thinking and learning. As a team, we gather the evidence of what is seen and heard in the classroom, asking questions of the students from our interactions. Together, we reflect on the information collected from the other educators, children, and parents. As a team, we interpret and analyze using our knowledge and expectations of the kindergarten program, curriculum 4 frames, and child development. Assessment comes into play here with the team's own knowledge of the students and child development. Resources are also brought in to assist the team. Books, government documents, monographs, etc. Piece number 5, engaging the families in the documentation process. Engaging the families. Here's a quote from the kindergarten curriculum document that I think puts everything into perspective. Involving parents in the review and documentation will enrich the educator's analysis and understanding of the child's learning, provide insights about the child's background and behavior at home, and contribute profoundly to the child's learning. Building trust with the families. We see them as equal members of the student's learning experience. As an African proverb says, it takes a village to raise a child, meaning it takes the entire community who interact with the child to help it experience and grow in a safe and healthy environment. Inviting families into the classroom to share the child's learning experience. Also to familiarize and reflect on their child's learning and help support the child in the continued learning experience. And as you can see, we had a parent come in to show the other children about her culture, about coloring Easter eggs. So there you have it. That is what I show new parents to help them understand the value of documentation. Does that help a bit?
I think so. You're saying documentation is happening all the time, and with it constant assessment.
That's right. In essence, we are documenting the student's learning journey through their eyes. Documentation helps us see where the student came from, where they are, and where they can be.
You have given me a lot to think about. Do you think I can have a copy of your references?
Actually, I can do one better. You can have a copy of my presentation. At the end, you can see all the references I used.
Are you sure that's all right? That would be a big help.
Absolutely. As long as you use the information not just for your assignment, but in your teaching career as well.
Yes, thank you for all your help. Now, how about I buy you that coffee?
All right, let me get my stuff.